shrine to Asian American athletes that we made and broadcast yesterday, but we have to apologize to some people.
I'm sorry, Hines Ward.
I am sorry, Jordan Clarkson.
Daeho Lee, apologies.
I am sorry, Jason Day.
This could go on for a while.
Hideo Nomo. I mean, you can go down the list, and we only had so much space.
And time.
But I do feel like Hines Ward, I mean, you love football, and he is the most prominent Korean in NFL history, right?
I already feel bad about this.
Yeah, I also do.
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's new.
Our first name, LeBron James. Ooh. Because according to Joe Vardon of The Athletic, quote, the Lakers are privately a little concerned about LeBron, end quote. Yesterday, our pal Brian Windhurst said word on the street is that LeBron is playing around 280 pounds. So, Mina, how should the Lakers approach this problem?
Two questions for you. If LeBron is, say, 80% and guts it out this season, are the Lakers going to the finals?
No. God.
If he rests, comes back healthy next year, they add a free agent, do they have a shot then?
Yes, no, that is absolutely still plausible for them.
And that's all you need to know. How should they handle it? Gingerly, right? Because as much as people fear the stigma of being the first LeBron James-led team to miss the playoffs in over 10 years, and as much as I imagine a room full of suits in the NBA's headquarters are weeping into their salads at the thought of a postseason without LeBron, we have to think what's best for the Lakers. And at this point, nothing in 2019 is what's best for the Lakers. It's all about timelines, as it often is in the NBA, and their timeline has shifted yet again to 2020.
Yeah, and that is sad because this was not supposed to be a lost season. It is a realistic outcome at this point, but LeBron James, Mina, for all of his talents, for all of his otherworldly abilities, his number one talent, arguably, is his ability to stay healthy. He's played in 94% of the games in his career prior to this groin injury flaring up. He has never missed a playoff game. So when you talk about the NBA executives, the reason they're heartbroken is not only because he is the sun, the moon, and the stars, it's because he's been so reliable for them. But now, he has a 4-year deal. 1 year seems like it's going to go to waste. And I can only imagine the pressure that puts on the year 2 that you mentioned, because I do think, yes, concentrate on year 2, but you have all of these other players and coaches and GMs involved with this organization who really do need this to turn around quickly.
Doesn't it feel like the Lakers should have seen this coming? I mean, LeBron James is 34 years old. We are 33, and we are washed.
So unbelievably washed. I get massages like every month, and that is a very first-class sort of a problem, but it's needed. My neck, my back, as the song goes. Anyway, yes.
My point is that despite LeBron James' superhuman ability, at some point we knew he was going to, have to take some time. His endurance would lessen a little bit, and it feels like the Lakers should have anticipated, hey, every season counts with this guy.
Yes, he suddenly looks like a human being.
Got a new name. Tim Donaghy. One we haven't heard in a while. Our friends at ESPN The Magazine have dropped a bombshell in the basketball and betting worlds. Writer Scott Eden reports that disgraced NBA ref Tim Donaghy did in fact fix games for gamblers, and that the problem was much deeper than previously assumed. Pablo, how big a deal is this revelation?
This is a big deal, and this is a triumph of journalism, and I say that with all of the caveats involved that we've been employed by ESPN The Magazine, and we do love them. But it's important for people out there to remember, the FBI and the NBA, via an independent but commissioned investigation, exonerated this man, Tim Donaghy, from fixing games. They said it did not happen. He was disgraced, he was corrupt, but he only bet on them, he did not fix them. But Scott Eden has 4 human beings on the record saying, no, Tim Donaghy told us privately that he fixed games. But it wasn't just that. There were 2 sophisticated statistical analyses that say it would be insane if the way that he called games was random, right? So to me, this is a question that now lands on the NBA. Why was it that you guys couldn't find out what our pal Scott Eden did via journalism when this thing was a story existentially threatening your business?
Yeah, according to that statistical analysis he did, the odds that an unbiased ref would make the same calls were over 6,000 to 1.
Yes.
But then the NBA looked at it and said, this all looks pretty, checks out, it's fine. And that's what's so concerning, right? Because in 2019, the NBA has cozied up to sports betting. And they've assured us, listen, we've got this, guys. We are keeping tabs on everything. We are regulating this. We're not going to have another Tim Donaghy situation. But in light of this report, it feels like they never reckoned with the original Tim Donaghy situation to begin with.
Yes, and it seemed it seemed very easy to fix these games, right? And so the NBA at the time didn't want to admit something crucial, I think, which was a foul in the NBA, perhaps more than any other sport, is vague and malleable. By rule, it depends on context, it depends on time, it depends on who the foulee and the fouler was. Is this a playoff game or a regular season game? The reason the NBA could get away with that fudged math in terms of nothing untoward was happening was entirely because a foul could conceivably be happening at any moment.
Right.
And so the question is, Mina, you used to do business reporting. How do you regulate this in the future? What happens?
I think they would contend that with legalization comes more regulation. Sunlight is the best disinfectant and all of that. But with legalization also comes much more money and much more sophisticated gamblers. I mean, there's a guy in this piece named Rhino, okay? That's the level of sophistication that we're dealing with here.
Yes, it feels like at some point the government should have some oversight over a multi-billion-dollar controversy. But our last name is LeVeon Bell, because today Steelers GM Kevin Colbert announced they will not be transition tagging Bell, making him a free agent finally. So Mina, what is the market looking like for this guy?
Better than you might think. Okay, LeVeon Bell is just 27 years old. He benefits from having zero tread on his tires from last season, and he is a generational talent. People might look at the Steelers last year and see what James Conner did behind that offensive line. However, defenses didn't commit to stop him the way they did LeVeon Bell. And in the modern NFL, as much as the running back has been devalued a bit, and it has, LeVeon Bell's utility is both as a back and a pass catcher. That's why this whole time he was arguing he should be paid more. I would not be surprised if some team sees him that way.
And the good news for Bell is that when you look around the marketplace, when you look at any of the websites that track cap space, salary cap availability, there are some contenders, right? So the Colts, the Jets, the Bills, the Texans, and Raiders are all at the top of that list.
Yes.
But of those names, which one of them do you think are actually likely bidders for this man's services?
So it should be the Jets because they've got so much money. They'd love to pair him with a quarterback. However, they just hired a coach who, Adam Gase, when he was in Miami, was like the culture guy and got rid of guys who, win against the culture. And, with LeVeon Bell, there might be some concerns.
Well, we have this image, if we can put that on the screen, right? Do we have that? Do we have LeVeon Bell enjoying the process? He was live streaming, and in the corner happens to be some cones. And look, tobacco is a great product that you can put inside of those cones, Mina, but is stuff like this, also Cards Against Humanity. Great game. Great game. Oh, and that video game that people love, right? Apex Legends, I believe.
It's not snitching if he published it himself.
Correct. I think that's a fair rule. But our team's worried about stuff like this on top of how we dealt with Pittsburgh.
You mean about him just hanging out with his buds, having a casual day?
I see what you did there.
I think some might, right? But LeVeon Bell will certainly have a chance to find out if the grass is greener on the other side.
Wow. This felt like a long setup for you to make a series of very transparent puns.
No, just football analysis.
Yes.
That's all that was. I don't know what you're talking about.
But if you're LeVeon Bell, right? Wait, you're dealing with another one? Spit it out. What do you have? What do you have? Wait, let's clear the floor for this.
I was just being blunt.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
I'm just going to sit here in silence for a second and let you think about what you've done.
I'm not ashamed. You want me to talk about the cap? You want me to talk about his contract? You want me to get in the weeds?
I've never felt more like Bomani Jones. But coming up next, we have a story that's very important. Damian Lillard throwing shade at one Kevin Durant. We think. Maybe?
Download the High Noon podcast. Mina